The great hall of Vornis Prime glowed with gold and firelight. Hundreds of alien nobles stood in silence as the massive doors opened. Every eye turned toward the human who dared to enter the royal chamber of the most powerful alien empire in the galaxy. Commander Ryan Hale, dressed in a simple dark uniform, walked slowly through the hall. His steps echoed against the marble floor. Above him, tall arches rose like the ribs of some ancient beast. He could feel their eyes on him, cold, judging, cruel. At the end of the hall sat King Vorik, ruler of the Vornian Empire, wearing black armor that shimmered like obsidian. His gaze was sharp as a blade. Beside his throne stood his daughter, Princess Lyra, with long blue hair that flowed like liquid light. Her face was pale and quiet, her hands folded before her. Ryan stopped a few steps before the throne and bowed his head. "Your Majesty," he said calmly, "I have come to ask for Princess Lyra's hand in marriage." For a moment, the entire hall was silent. Then, laughter filled the air. Harsh, echoing laughter that bounced off the golden walls. The king rose slowly from his throne. His voice thundered across the chamber. "You, a human. You want to marry my barren daughter." His words cut deep, and the aliens around him joined in cruel laughter. "She cannot give an heir even to her own kind. What makes you think she can give one to you?" Ryan did not flinch. He looked straight into the king's eyes. "Because love is not measured by what someone can give," he said. "It is measured by what we are willing to share." The laughter faded, replaced by shocked whispers. No one had ever spoken to King Vorik like that before. The king's eyes narrowed. "You are a fool, human," the king hissed. "But very well. If you wish to throw away your future for this useless child of mine, I will not stop you." He turned to Lyra. "Go with him if you wish. Let the galaxy laugh at both of you." Lyra's lips trembled. She had lived her whole life in the shadow of her father's shame. She was called the Empty One, the princess who could never bear children, the broken royal. But the way Ryan looked at her, like she was not a curse, but a miracle, gave her courage she never knew she had. Slowly, she walked to his side. The hall erupted in laughter again, mocking the union that would surely fail. Yet as they left the palace, Ryan leaned close and whispered, "Let them laugh now. One day, they'll see what we see." Far from the shining cities of Vornis Prime, Ryan and Lyra built a quiet life on a small moon colony. The world was cold and filled with silver sand. Their home was simple, a dome-shaped shelter surrounded by glowing rocks. Every morning, Ryan fixed machines and traded with passing cargo ships. Lyra tended to the greenhouse, growing alien flowers that shimmered like glass. Though life was peaceful, the voices of the past still echoed in Lyra's mind. Sometimes she would stare at her reflection and whisper, "I am not enough." Ryan always heard her, even when she spoke softly. He would take her hand and say, "You are everything I ever needed. You are the reason I'm here." Slowly, her sadness began to fade. But far away, in the dark chambers of the Vornian palace, King Vorik watched through secret holoscreens. His spies had been ordered to follow them. Every few days, he received reports. "The human is still with her, Your Majesty," one spy said. "They live quietly. They seem happy." Vorik slammed his metal fist on the table. "Happy. Let them have their small joy. The galaxy will forget them soon enough." He didn't know that destiny had already chosen a different path. One night, a strange light appeared above the couple's home. The sky cracked open with waves of blue energy. Ryan ran outside, shielding his eyes. Lyra stood under the light, her body glowing faintly. "Lyra!" Ryan shouted, running toward her. But she wasn't afraid. Her hair lifted as if carried by invisible wind, and her skin shimmered like starlight. "I can feel something inside me," she whispered. "Something alive." Ryan's heart pounded. "What do you mean? You?" Before he could finish, a wave of energy burst from her, spreading across the silver sands. The night went silent. When Ryan reached her, she had fallen to her knees, trembling but alive. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she held his hand. "Ryan," she said softly, "something has changed inside me. I think I'm not empty anymore." Ryan stared at her in shock, then slowly smiled, holding her face gently. "Then let the stars bear witness, Lyra. You've just proven the universe wrong." Above them, the sky shimmered like 1,000 suns being born. And somewhere, deep in the royal palace, King Vorak's holoscreens flickered with strange signals, an energy signature unlike anything seen before. The king frowned, his laughter gone. He had mocked the human for marrying his useless daughter. But the universe was preparing to show him how wrong he truly was. The morning after the strange light, Ryan woke to the soft hum of machines. His head hurt from the night's chaos. The air around their small home still shimmered faintly, like the light had soaked into the ground. He looked at Lyra. She was still asleep, her glowing blue hair spread over the pillow like silk. For the first time, there was color in her cheeks. Her breathing was calm, peaceful, but different. He could feel the air vibrate slightly with every breath she took. Ryan touched her hand gently. "Lyra," he whispered, "are you okay?" Her eyes opened slowly, bright like twin moons. "I feel strange," she said. "Not sick. Just full of energy." She sat up and looked around the room. The metal walls seemed to hum softly, as if reacting to her presence. Ryan stood back, surprised. Even the lights flickered slightly when she moved. "Something happened last night," Ryan said carefully. "That energy, it came from you." Lyra looked down at her hands. "I don't understand," she whispered. "All my life, they told me I was empty, broken. But now," she pressed her hand against her stomach, "I feel something alive inside me." Ryan's heart skipped a beat. "Alive." She nodded, eyes filling with tears. "Ryan, I think I'm carrying a child." For a moment, he said nothing. He just stared at her, unable to breathe. The words hung in the air like a miracle he couldn't believe. Then slowly, a smile spread across his face. He reached for her, holding her close. "Lyra," he said softly, "you've just made the impossible real." Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. The plants in their greenhouse grew faster, blooming overnight. Machines that were broken for months suddenly started working again when Lyra touched them. Even the cold winds outside seemed softer when she stepped into the open. Ryan began recording everything. He used his small datapad to take readings of the energy around her. What he found made no sense. "Your body is producing a field stronger than any known reactor," he said one evening, looking at the glowing charts. "It's like your cells are connected to something bigger, something cosmic." Lyra watched him quietly. "Do you think it's dangerous?" He shook his head. "I don't think it's dangerous, but it's powerful. Maybe even sacred." Still, Ryan couldn't shake a growing fear. If the royal court found out about this, they would come for her. He knew how the king thought. Vorak never let go of what he considered his property. So Ryan hid the truth. He sent false reports to any censors near their colony, and avoided speaking to traders who might talk too much. But rumors have a way of traveling faster than light. Back on Vornis Prime, in the deep chambers of the royal palace, King Vorak received a report from one of his spies. "Your Majesty," the spy said, bowing deeply, "we have detected an unusual energy pulse from the moon colony where the human and your daughter live." Vorak raised his head slowly. His dark armor glowed faintly under the throne room lights. "Energy pulse," he repeated. "Yes, my lord." A surge of power matching ancient records, the same kind of energy found in the core relics of our ancestors. Vorak stood up, his eyes burning with curiosity and anger. "So, the human plays with forbidden science," he growled. "Or perhaps my daughter finally found a way to shame me even more." He turned toward the massive windows overlooking his empire. "Send my ships. I want them watched. If the human thinks he can outshine my name, he will learn what happens to those who defy a king." Meanwhile, Ryan noticed more changes in Lyra. Her senses grew sharper. She could hear things far away, sense danger before it came. Sometimes when she touched his hand, he felt images flash through his mind. Memories, dreams, even visions of places he'd never seen. One night, she woke suddenly, gasping for breath. Her eyes glowed like stars. Lyra! Ryan rushed to her side. She looked terrified. "I saw something," she said, voice trembling. "A city of light, floating in the darkness of space. And a voice calling our child's name." Ryan froze. Our child's name? What name? She hesitated, then whispered, "Ian." The word echoed in the room like a whisper from the universe itself. Days turned into weeks. The strange energy continued to grow stronger. Ryan built shields around their home to hide it from scanners, but even he knew it wouldn't last long. One evening, while Lyra slept, he stepped outside to clear his head. The twin moons glowed softly above the horizon. He looked up at them and whispered, "If anyone's out there listening, protect her. Protect them both." As if answering his prayer, the air shimmered faintly, a pulse, soft and gentle, that seemed to come from the stars themselves. He didn't know it yet, but the ancient power flowing through Lyra was not from any machine or science. It was something far older, the long-lost energy of the starborn, the first race to walk among the galaxies. And their unborn child was about to awaken it again. In the palace, the king's scientists tried to decode the readings from the moon. "It's not human technology," one of them said nervously. "It's alive. The energy responds like a heartbeat." Vorak clenched his fists. "Then it must be stopped. Prepare my fleet." His golden eyes narrowed as he whispered to himself, "Let's see how far that human's courage will go when the stars turn against him." That night, as Ryan and Lyra lay together under the shimmering dome, a gentle blue light filled the room again. Lyra opened her eyes, smiling faintly. "Ryan," she whispered, "can you hear it?" "Hear what?" he asked softly. "The stars," she said. "They're singing for him." Ryan placed his hand on her stomach. A soft warmth met his touch, a heartbeat, steady and strong. And in that moment he understood, this was no ordinary child. This was destiny taking form. The night sky was on fire. Flaming shapes tore through the clouds, screaming as they fell. The ground shook with every impact. Ethan Vale ran through the ruins, dust and heat chasing him like a wave. The transmitter in his hand crackled again with Aegis's voice, calm but urgent. "Human, you must move to higher ground. Hostile forces have landed." Ethan didn't need to ask what kind of forces, they were already here. From the crater behind him, something crawled out, a black, insect-like machine, its body made of metal bones and burning red eyes. It moved fast, clicking and hissing, scanning the air. He hid behind a broken wall, covering his mouth to silence his breathing. The creature turned its head slowly, its sensors glowing brighter. Aegis's voice whispered again through the static. "Do not engage. Keep moving north." Ethan nodded, even though the machine couldn't see him, and ran into the darkness. Above the clouds, Aegis stood tall on the ice plains, scanning the world below. His sensors painted a grim picture, hundreds of unknown signals, spreading across continents like a virus. The architects had fully awakened. Their old codes, once buried beneath the oceans, were alive again. They had heard the same signal that woke the Titans, the whisper of a human voice. And to them, that voice was not hope. It was a threat. Aegis sent a signal to the other Titans. "The enemy has returned. Priority: protect the last human." All around the planet, Titans stirred. Some were damaged, some half-buried, but each one began to move. The old guardians of humanity were rising again, answering a call that had echoed for a century. Meanwhile, in the desert far south, another Titan named Helion-04 lifted his massive body from beneath the sands. His sensors locked onto red energy signatures approaching fast. "Architect drones detected," he transmitted. "Engaging." The desert exploded with fire and thunder. Lightning streaked across the sky as ancient metal clashed with alien design. The Titans were powerful, but the architects were evolving. Their forms twisted, adapting, learning with every strike. Back in the ruined city, Ethan reached an old subway tunnel, dark and half-collapsed. He hid inside, breathing hard, his heart pounding. The sound of metal claws scraping against the concrete grew louder behind him. He turned on his flashlight, only to see the machine at the tunnel entrance, its red eyes glowing like fire. He froze. The creature scanned him, and a cold robotic voice hissed. Human life form detected. Source of activation identified. Before it could attack, a shockwave rolled through the tunnel. The walls cracked, the ceiling broke apart, and light burst in from above. A shadow fell over Ethan. The massive hand of Aegis reached down, closing around the machine. With one crushing motion, the Titan destroyed it completely. Dust and smoke filled the air. When it cleared, Ethan saw Aegis kneeling outside the tunnel, his enormous face lowered toward him. "You are safe now." Ethan stared up in awe. "You came. You really came." "My purpose is clear," Aegis replied. "You are the last of humanity. I will not fail again." Ethan frowned. "Fail again? What do you mean?" Aegis paused. The lights on his armor dimmed slightly, like a sign of hesitation. "In the final days of the old world, humanity built us to protect them. But we were too late. The architects struck first. The cities fell. The oceans burned. We went into silence, waiting for your kind to return." Ethan looked down, his heart heavy. "And now I'm the only one left." "No," Aegis said softly. "As long as you live, humanity still lives." Before Ethan could answer, Aegis turned his head sharply. His sensors detected more signals, dozens of architect drones approaching from the east. "They have found you again." Aegis stood to his full height, towering over the ruins like a metal mountain. His arms unfolded into massive cannons, glowing blue with energy. "Stay behind me, human." The night erupted with fire. Energy blasts shot through the sky as Aegis fought wave after wave of machines. Each explosion lit up the ruins like daylight. Ethan could only watch, helpless, as the ancient war began again before his eyes. But something was wrong. Among the enemy ranks, one larger shape appeared, a colossal architect commander, twice the size of the drones. Its body shimmered with red light, its voice echoing through the air like thunder. "Titan Aegis. You cannot protect what is already extinct." Aegis roared back, his energy shields flaring. "Humanity will never be extinct." The two giants clashed. Buildings crumbled under the shockwaves. Sparks flew as metal hit metal. The ground burned where they fought. Ethan ran for cover, his ears ringing from the sound of destruction. He peeked through the rubble just in time to see the architect fire a massive beam of energy, striking Aegis in the chest. The Titan fell to one knee, his armor melting. "Aegis!" Ethan shouted. But the Titan's voice came back strong. "Do not fear. I will endure." He charged forward, slamming into the architect with full force. The explosion that followed lit the entire horizon. For a moment, everything went white. When the light faded, Aegis was still standing, but the enemy was gone. The battlefield was quiet again. Smoke drifted into the sky, glowing red under the fading stars. Aegis turned his gaze toward Ethan. "They will not stop. The architects remember what they began. And now they know, humanity still breathes." Ethan nodded slowly, fear and determination mixing inside him. "Then we fight back. We survive. That's what humans do." For the first time, Aegis's blue eyes softened, almost like a smile. "Yes. We survive." As dawn broke across the ruined world, the Titan stood guard beside the last human, while far away, deep under the oceans, the architects began to build again. The war for Earth had just been reborn. The dawn on the small moon was quiet, too quiet. The battle was over, yet the air still smelled of burnt metal and fear. Ryan stood at the edge of the crater, watching smoke rise from the wrecks of fallen ships. His arm was bandaged, his armor cracked, but his eyes burned with determination. Behind him, inside the bunker, Lyra sat on a metal bed holding their newborn child. Little Ian slept peacefully, his tiny chest glowing faintly with blue light. Each time he breathed, the energy around the room shimmered like soft waves. Lyra smiled weakly as Ryan entered. "He's calm now," she said. "It's as if he knows the world outside is watching him." Ryan knelt beside her. "He's strong, Lyra. Stronger than both of us." But deep down, Ryan's heart was heavy. He knew this peace would not last. He had seen the ships descending again through the clouds, the royal insignia shining like golden fire. The king was coming. High above the moon, King Vorik's command ship hovered like a dark god. Inside, the king stood by the viewing window, staring down at the glowing colony below. "So," he murmured, "the human really did the impossible." His advisor bowed deeply. "Your Majesty, should we destroy them?" Vorik's expression hardened. "No. Bring them to me. I want to see the child." The advisor hesitated. "But the energy—" "Do as I say," Vorik snapped. "If the boy carries power beyond our understanding, then that power belongs to the crown." Back on the surface, Ryan's sensors lit up with incoming signals. He looked at Lyra. "They're here." Lyra's hands trembled. "Ryan, we can't let them take Ian. He's not ready." "I won't let them touch him," Ryan said firmly. He opened a hidden panel in the floor, revealing a small hovercraft packed with supplies. "We're leaving. Now." He carefully wrapped Ian in a soft energy blanket. The child stirred but didn't cry. His little hands glowed faintly as if sensing danger. As they stepped outside, beams of light cut through the clouds. Dozens of royal soldiers descended, their golden armor shining in the mist. Ryan cursed under his breath. "They're faster than I thought." Lyra turned to him, her eyes glowing brighter. "Ryan, I can hold them off. You must get Ian to safety." "No," he said sharply. "We stay together." "Ryan." "I lost everything once before," he interrupted, gripping her hand. "I'm not losing you too." Before she could answer, a massive shadow fell across them. The king's ship landed with a thunderous roar. Dust and light filled the air. From its center, King Vorik emerged, tall, armored, and surrounded by guards. His golden eyes burned as he approached them. "My daughter," he said coldly. "You have brought shame and chaos upon my name." Lyra stepped forward, holding Ian protectively. "Father, please. You don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," Vorik hissed. "You chose a human over your people. And now you bring this creature into existence." Ryan's jaw tightened. "He's your grandson." Vorik's gaze flicked to him. "You dare speak to me, human? You corrupted my bloodline." Ryan stepped between the king and Lyra. "You call it corruption. I call it hope." The tension in the air was electric. The guards raised their weapons, but Vorik held up a hand. "No. I want to see this child." Lyra clutched Ian tighter. "You'll hurt him." Vorik took a step closer. "That depends on what he is." The baby opened his eyes. For a brief second, everyone froze. His gaze glowed with the light of two suns, gold and blue. The ground began to vibrate softly. Vorik's eyes widened. "What is this?" Ian lifted one tiny hand, and the soldiers' weapons melted into dust. The king stumbled back, his armor crackling with energy. Ryan shouted, "Lyra, now!" They ran toward the hovercraft. Ryan jumped in, activating the engines. The craft shot into the air as beams of plasma fired behind them. Explosions followed, bright, blinding, echoing through the barren landscape. Vorik roared in anger. "After them! Bring me that child!" The chase began. Through the rocky valleys and glowing dunes, Ryan piloted the craft with every ounce of skill he had. The royal ships pursued, lasers slicing through the air. Lyra held Ian close, whispering softly to calm him. "Hold on," Ryan shouted as a blast hit their side. Sparks flew across the cockpit. Lyra's eyes glowed again. She reached out, and a blue shield formed around the craft. The next shot bounced off harmlessly. Ryan glanced at her in disbelief. "You did that?" She looked surprised too. "I didn't think. I just felt it." The energy from Ian pulsed stronger, surrounding them like a cocoon of light. As they flew over the dark canyons, Ryan saw an old human station, abandoned from the early wars. "That's our way out," he said. He dove the craft toward it, disappearing into the shadows. The royal ships circled above, unable to track them through the dense magnetic fields. Inside the ruins, Ryan landed the craft and shut down the systems. The silence felt heavy. Lyra looked down at her child. "He saved us," she whispered. Ryan touched the baby's tiny hand. "No," he said softly. "You both did." Far above, in his command ship, King Vorik stared at the stormy surface of the moon. His fury burned, but so did his curiosity. "Track their last position," he ordered. "If that child is truly what I think he is, he might be the key to power greater than the throne itself." He turned to his advisor, voice dark and cold. "The human thinks he can run. But even the stars cannot hide him from me." Back in the silent ruins, Ryan leaned against the wall, exhausted. Lyra rested beside him, Ian sleeping peacefully between them. For the first time in hours, the world was quiet. Ryan looked at his family and whispered, "No matter what comes next, we'll face it together." Above them, the stars shimmered faintly, and one of them pulsed blue, as if answering his vow. The ruins were cold and quiet. Wind howled softly through the cracks of the old walls. Ryan sat near a dying fire, sharpening his blade, his eyes fixed on the flickering flames. Each spark reminded him of the chaos they had escaped, the king's fury, the blinding light, and the sound of falling ships. Lyra sat nearby, cradling baby Ian. The child slept peacefully, his chest glowing faintly under the blanket. That blue light pulsed like a heartbeat, calm yet powerful, like something ancient awakening deep inside him. Ryan whispered, "He's changing." Lyra looked at the child and nodded slowly. "Every day, the light grows stronger. When he sleeps, I can feel it spreading, like he's calling to something far away." Ryan frowned. Or something's calling to him. Outside the ruins, the night sky shimmered with strange lights. The magnetic fields that protected them also created illusions, shifting stars, silent storms, and ghostly waves of color. But tonight, something new appeared. A small orb of golden energy floated above the dunes, moving slowly toward the ruins. Inside, Ian stirred. His eyes opened, golden and blue again. "Ryan," Lyra whispered. "He's awake." The orb entered the building, lighting up the dark hall. Ryan stood, weapon ready, but the energy didn't attack. Instead, it stopped in front of Ian. A soft voice echoed through the air. "He has awakened, the heir of two worlds." Ryan's heart raced. "Who's there?" The light shifted, forming the shape of a tall figure, half human, half alien, glowing with energy. "I am the keeper," the voice said. "I've waited centuries for this moment." Lyra held Ian protectively. "What do you want with our child?" The keeper smiled gently. "Not harm. Guidance." Ryan lowered his weapon slightly. "Guidance? For what?" The figure looked at the baby. "This child carries the union of two species, human will and alien essence. Long ago, our worlds were one. But greed and pride tore us apart. The birth of this child means the bond can return, or everything can end." Lyra's breath caught. "End." The keeper's eyes glowed. "His power will grow beyond control. If he's taught peace, he will heal the stars. But if fear or anger guide him," the light around them flickered violently, "he will destroy empires." Ryan clenched his fists. Then we'll make sure he learns peace. The keeper's voice grew soft. You will try. But others will come, those who see him not as a child, but as a weapon. Before Ryan could reply, the orb began to fade. Remember this, the keeper whispered. His power comes not from blood, but from choice. Then it vanished, leaving behind silence and the faint scent of ozone. Lyra looked at Ryan, fear in her eyes. Ryan, what if the king finds him again? He will, Ryan said quietly. But we'll be ready next time. He stood and looked at the horizon. We can't hide forever. We need to leave this moon, find a place where no one will look for us. Lyra hesitated. Where would that be? Ryan smiled faintly. There's an old human colony beyond the Red Nebula. Abandoned after the war. If we can get there, we might find shelter and answers. Lyra nodded slowly. Then we go. For Ian. 2 nights later, they repaired an old starship found in the ruins, a rusty but functional cargo vessel. Ryan spent hours working under the glowing lights, while Lyra prepared supplies. As they worked, Ian lay nearby, watching with curious eyes. Every now and then, small objects floated near him, a wrench, a bolt, even a datapad, spinning gently in the air before setting down again. Lyra smiled nervously. He's learning faster than I expected. Ryan chuckled softly. Yeah. Let's hope he learns not to do that when we're flying. But deep down, Ryan knew this wasn't ordinary power. It was something vast, something that frightened even him. Meanwhile, in the royal palace far away, King Vorik stood before a massive screen showing Ian's energy signature. His scientists bowed nervously. My lord, one of them said, the readings are off the charts. That child's energy rivals our planetary core. Vorik's eyes narrowed. So the prophecy was true. What prophecy, sire? Vorik turned slowly. That one day, the blood of alien and human would merge, and from it, a power would rise strong enough to rule or destroy all life. The scientists swallowed hard. Then, what shall we do? Vorik's voice was cold and sharp. We will capture him alive. And if he refuses to serve, his eyes glowed gold. We'll take his power by force. Back in the stars, Ryan's ship finally lifted off. The engines roared to life, shaking dust and debris into the air. As they broke through the clouds, Lyra looked down at the glowing moon. Goodbye, home, she whispered. Ryan adjusted the controls. We're heading to the nebula. Once we're through, they'll lose our signal. Ian sat in Lyra's arms, smiling softly. The stars reflected in his glowing eyes, blue and gold lights dancing like tiny suns. For a moment, everything felt calm, peaceful. But suddenly, alarms blared. Ryan's radar lit up. No, he muttered. They found us. Through the viewport, a massive fleet appeared, royal warships blocking their path. Lyra gasped. Ryan, what do we do? He tightened his grip on the controls. We fight. The first blast hit, shaking the ship violently. Lyra held Ian close as energy waves tore through space. Ryan maneuvered hard, diving between asteroids, dodging laser fire. The child began to glow brighter, his energy reacting to the danger. The ship systems surged, shields strengthening, speed increasing beyond normal limits. Lyra looked at him in shock. He's protecting us. Ryan smiled through the chaos. Good job, little one. Just a little more. The ship shot forward, disappearing into the storm of the Red Nebula. Lightning flashed, colors twisted, and then, silence. They were gone. Far behind, King Vorik's fleet stopped at the edge of the storm. The commander turned to him nervously. Shall we pursue? Vorik stared into the red mist. No. Let them run. He smiled darkly. The child won't hide forever. When he returns, the galaxy will kneel. The red nebula stretched endlessly before them, a storm of crimson clouds and glowing lightning that tore across the darkness of space. The ship trembled as it entered the storm, energy waves flashing around it like veins of fire. Ryan gripped the controls tightly. Hold on. This nebula isn't just gas, it's alive. Lyra held Ian close, her voice trembling. Alive? What do you mean? Every system is reacting. The sensors can't read anything. It's like the whole place is watching us. Ian opened his glowing eyes. The blue and gold light from his pupils reflected on the glass of the cockpit. The storm outside grew calm, as if responding to his presence. The turbulence stopped. The ship began to drift smoothly, guided by unseen forces. Ryan blinked. What just happened? Lyra whispered. He did. The deeper they went, the more unreal it became. Strange lights floated through the mist, like spirits made of energy. Ancient ruins appeared, hidden within the nebula, massive stone structures glowing faintly. Ryan's mouth fell open. Those aren't asteroids, they're temples. He steered the ship toward the largest structure, a floating pyramid made of silver stone, its edges pulsing with energy. Symbols older than any known language glowed across its walls. Lyra's voice was filled with awe. Ryan, this place is ancient. It's not alien or human, it's both. Ryan nodded slowly. Maybe this is what the Keeper meant, the bond between two worlds. The ship landed gently near a platform. As they stepped outside, a strange warmth filled the air. Despite the nebula's chaos, this place was peaceful, like time itself slowed down. Ian reached out with his tiny hand, and the symbols on the walls began to glow brighter, responding to his touch. A beam of light shot upward, forming a circle in the sky. Suddenly, a voice echoed around them, deep, calm, and powerful. Welcome, child of balance. Ryan looked around, weapon ready. Who's there? The light shaped itself into a figure, tall and majestic, made entirely of golden energy. It wasn't solid, but its presence felt real, almost divine. I am the guardian of the nebula, it said. I have waited for the one who carries the blood of unity. Lyra stepped forward. Our son, he's special. But we don't understand what he is. The guardian's eyes glowed. He is the bridge, born from two species that once were one. Your love restored what time broke. Ryan frowned. Then why is everyone trying to kill us for it? Because they fear what they cannot control, the guardian replied. The child's power is limitless, the energy of creation itself. But that power can either heal or destroy. Lyra held Ian tightly. We will teach him to heal. The guardian looked at her kindly. Then your hearts must remain pure. The darkness outside this nebula grows stronger. The king of your world seeks the child not for love, but for dominance. His greed will bring war among the stars. Ryan clenched his fists. Then we'll stop him. The guardian nodded. To protect him, you must understand his gift. Follow the light below. It will reveal the truth of his power. The ground beneath them began to glow, forming a circular path leading deep into the temple. They followed the path into a chamber filled with floating crystals. Each crystal showed images, wars, ancient creatures, and two races living in peace long ago. Lyra gasped softly. Is this history? The guardian's voice echoed. Before hatred divided them, humans and the people of Vorik shared one heart. When greed poisoned their leaders, the bond shattered. The energy that once flowed freely between them was lost, until now. Ryan looked at the glowing crystals. So Ian's birth brought that energy back? Yes, the guardian said. But balance comes with a price. The more his power grows, the more the darkness will try to claim him. You must guide him, teach him love over anger, compassion over pride. Ian giggled softly, his energy lighting up the entire room. The crystals began to spin, releasing a warm glow that wrapped around him like light embracing its source. For a moment, Ryan and Lyra felt peace, pure and perfect. But then, the temple shook violently. The light dimmed. Ryan shouted, What's happening? The Guardian's form flickered. They found you. The King's fleet is breaking through the nebula. Lyra's eyes widened. Already? But how? They used his energy signature to track him, the Guardian said urgently. You must leave now. Outside, the nebula roared. The storm that had once been calm began to spin violently. Through the clouds, dark ships appeared, massive and golden, the King's royal fleet. Ryan ran toward the ship, shouting, Lyra! Hurry! She followed, holding Ian close. The moment they boarded, explosions erupted around them. The temple cracked apart, beams of light shooting in every direction. Ryan lifted off just as the Guardian's final words echoed in their minds. Protect the light, and it will protect you. As the ship sped through the storm, dozens of enemy fighters appeared behind them. Lasers flashed. The sky burned red. Lyra turned to Ryan, fear in her eyes. They're too many. Ryan gritted his teeth. Not if he helps us. He looked at Ian. You can do it, can't you, little one? Ian's eyes glowed brightly. He raised his tiny hand. The ship's shields flared to life, stronger than ever before. A wave of blue energy spread across the nebula, hitting every enemy ship like a tidal force. Explosions filled the sky. The royal fleet was thrown into chaos, unable to match the storm of pure power. Ryan shouted over the noise. He's controlling the nebula. Lyra could hardly speak. He's becoming what he's meant to be. The last of the enemy ships disappeared into the storm. Silence returned. The nebula calmed once more, glowing peacefully as if it were alive and thankful. Ryan took a deep breath. We made it. Lyra smiled weakly. For now. She looked down at Ian, now sleeping again, innocent and calm, and whispered, He's not just a child anymore, Ryan. He's destiny. Ryan stared out at the stars ahead. Then we'll make sure his destiny saves this galaxy, not destroys it. The ship drifted quietly through the glowing red clouds, heading deeper into the unknown, toward a fate that neither of them could yet imagine. The silence after the storm was deceiving. The nebula glowed faintly behind them, calm once more, but Ryan could feel it, the tension in the air, the stillness before another war. The hum of the ship was the only sound. Lyra sat by Ian's side, brushing her fingers gently through his soft hair. The child was sleeping peacefully again, his tiny hand glowing faintly in the dim light. Each pulse of blue and gold light from his palm reflected across the cockpit like the heartbeat of a new star. Ryan glanced at them, smiling softly, then his expression hardened. They'll come again, he said quietly. Lyra looked up. You think they survived? Ryan nodded. Vorak isn't the type to give up. The King's pride runs deeper than his empire. Far across the galaxy, inside his towering palace, King Vorak stood alone in his throne chamber. The room was dark, filled with holograms of star maps and energy readings, all centered on one thing, Ian. The king's golden eyes burned with rage as his advisor bowed before him. Your Majesty, we lost half the fleet inside the nebula. The storm, it wasn't natural. Something protected them. Vorak slammed his armored hand against the metal table. That thing isn't a storm. It's the child's power. He turned sharply. You said the humans once experimented with weapons made from living energy. Do we still have the prototypes? The advisor hesitated. The weapon, the Eclipse Core? It was banned, my lord. It drains life to destroy life. Vorak's lips twisted into a cruel smile. Then it's perfect. He looked out through the window where distant stars glittered coldly. If that child carries the power of creation, I will answer with the power of destruction. Back aboard Ryan's ship, the quiet hum was broken by a sharp alarm. Ryan leaned forward. Incoming signal. Lyra's eyes widened. Vorak. No. Ryan frowned. This isn't from the king. It's an automated beacon, an old human distress call. The message repeated in a broken voice. Survivors, hidden colony, need help, they're coming. Ryan hesitated. Could be a trap. Lyra shook her head. Or it could be people who need us. Remember what the Guardian said, love over fear. Ryan sighed. All right. Let's check it out. He adjusted the course. The ship changed direction and vanished into the starfield. An hour later, they approached a small planet, gray and broken, with pieces of metal floating in orbit like the remains of a once great civilization. As they descended, the surface came into view. Cities half buried in dust, towers leaning against the winds of time. But there was still life. Faint energy signals flickered below. Ryan landed the ship near the ruins. The air was thin, the sky tinted orange. Lyra stepped out, holding Ian close, wrapped in a blanket. This place feels sad, she whispered. Ryan nodded. It's a graveyard of another war. Suddenly, movement caught his eye, shadows darting between the ruins. Ryan reached for his blaster, but before he could react, figures emerged from behind the wreckage, humans, ragged and armed. Don't move, one shouted. Ryan raised his hands. Easy. We're not your enemies. The leader, a tall woman with a scar across her cheek, stepped forward. No one comes here unless they're desperate. Who are you? Ryan Hale, he said calmly. Former Alliance pilot. This is my wife, Lyra, and our son. The woman's eyes narrowed. Your son. Lyra stepped forward, revealing Ian. The child blinked curiously, and for a brief moment, his eyes glowed softly. The woman's mouth fell open. That light, it's the same as the stories. The child of two worlds. Ryan tensed. You've heard of him? She nodded slowly. The whole galaxy has. The king calls him a threat, says his power could end us all. Ryan's voice hardened. He's not a threat. He's hope. The woman looked at Ian again, then nodded. Then come with me. You need to see something. They followed her through the ruins to an underground base hidden beneath an old dome. Inside, there were dozens of survivors, humans and aliens working together, repairing machines, sharing food, living in fragile peace. Lyra's eyes widened. You live together? The woman smiled faintly. We don't care about bloodlines here. We only care about survival. Maybe your child is what we've all been waiting for. Before Ryan could reply, the base lights flickered. A low hum filled the air. Deep, unnatural. The woman's face went pale. No, it can't be. Ryan turned sharply. What is it? The Eclipse core, she whispered. The king must have activated it. The ground shook violently. Through the cracks in the ceiling, the sky turned dark. A massive shadow appeared above the planet, a colossal ship unlike any they had seen before, shaped like a burning crown. Ryan stared in horror. What is that? It's the king's new weapon, the woman said, voice trembling. It consumes life energy to power itself. It will drain the planet dry. Lyra clutched Ian tightly. He found us. Ryan ran to the controls. We need to get everyone out of here. But before they could move, a beam of dark energy struck the surface, turning everything it touched into ash. Screams echoed through the halls as the survivors scrambled for safety. Lyra shouted over the chaos. Ryan! The ships! We can't save them all. Ryan looked at Ian. The child's eyes were open now, glowing fiercely. The air around him shimmered with power. Maybe he can, Ryan whispered. He lifted Ian gently, holding him toward the collapsing ceiling. Ian, you have to help us. Please. Ian blinked once, and then the entire world lit up. A wave of blue and gold energy exploded outward, shielding the base. The dark energy from the king's weapon hit the shield and dissolved into light. Above, on his command ship, King Vorax stared in disbelief. What is this power? His ship trembled as the energy reached it, tearing through its hull. The advisor shouted, My lord! The weapon, it's overloading. Vorax's eyes widened. No. Impossible. But it was too late. The eclipse core began to collapse in on itself, creating a vortex of light and shadow that consumed the fleet. Ryan, Lyra, and the survivors watched from below as the sky turned blinding white. Then, silence. The light faded. The weapon was gone. The stars returned. Ryan lowered Ian, his hands shaking. He did it. Lyra looked at the child, tears in her eyes. He saved everyone. Ian yawned softly, as if nothing had happened, and fell asleep again in her arms. Ryan smiled weakly. Guess even heroes need naps. Far across the void, floating in the wreckage of his shattered ship, King Vorik opened his eyes. His armor cracked, his pride broken, but his fury still alive. He looked at the stars and whispered, "You may have won this time, human, but I will return. And when I do, your child will kneel before his king." The red nebula stretched endlessly before them, a storm of crimson clouds and glowing lightning that tore across the darkness of space. The ship trembled as it entered the storm, energy waves flashing around it like veins of fire. Ryan gripped the controls tightly. "Hold on. This nebula isn't just gas, it's alive." Lyra held Ian close, her voice trembling. "Alive? What do you mean?" "Every system is reacting. The sensors can't read anything. It's like the whole place is watching us." Ian opened his glowing eyes. The blue and gold light from his pupils reflected on the glass of the cockpit. The storm outside grew calm, as if responding to his presence. The turbulence stopped. The ship began to drift smoothly, guided by unseen forces. Ryan blinked. "What just happened?" Lyra whispered. "He did." The deeper they went, the more unreal it became. Strange lights floated through the mist, like spirits made of energy. Ancient ruins appeared, hidden within the nebula, massive stone structures glowing faintly. Ryan's mouth fell open. "Those aren't asteroids, they're temples." He steered the ship toward the largest structure, a floating pyramid made of silver stone, its edges pulsing with energy. Symbols older than any known language glowed across its walls. Lyra's voice was filled with awe. "Ryan, this place is ancient. It's not alien or human, it's both." Ryan nodded slowly. Maybe this is what the Keeper meant, the bond between two worlds. The ship landed gently near a platform. As they stepped outside, a strange warmth filled the air. Despite the nebula's chaos, this place was peaceful, like time itself slowed down. Ian reached out with his tiny hand, and the symbols on the walls began to glow brighter, responding to his touch. A beam of light shot upward, forming a circle in the sky. Suddenly, a voice echoed around them, deep, calm, and powerful. "Welcome, child of balance." Ryan looked around, weapon ready. "Who's there?" The light shaped itself into a figure, tall and majestic, made entirely of golden energy. It wasn't solid, but its presence felt real, almost divine. "I am the guardian of the nebula," it said. "I have waited for the one who carries the blood of unity." Lyra stepped forward. "Our son, he's special. But we don't understand what he is." The guardian's eyes glowed. "He is the bridge, born from two species that once were one. Your love restored what time broke." Ryan frowned. "Then why is everyone trying to kill us for it?" "Because they fear what they cannot control," the guardian replied. "The child's power is limitless, the energy of creation itself. But that power can either heal or destroy." Lyra held Ian tightly. "We will teach him to heal." The guardian looked at her kindly. "Then your hearts must remain pure. The darkness outside this nebula grows stronger. The king of your world seeks the child not for love, but for dominance. His greed will bring war among the stars." Ryan clenched his fists. "Then we'll stop him." The guardian nodded. "To protect him, You must understand his gift. Follow the light below. It will reveal the truth of his power. The ground beneath them began to glow, forming a circular path leading deep into the temple. They followed the path into a chamber filled with floating crystals. Each crystal showed images, wars, ancient creatures, and two races living in peace long ago. Lyra gasped softly. Is this history? The Guardian's voice echoed. Before hatred divided them, humans and the people of Vorik shared one heart. When greed poisoned their leaders, the bond shattered. The energy that once flowed freely between them was lost, until now. Ryan looked at the glowing crystals. So Ian's birth brought that energy back? Yes, the Guardian said. But balance comes with a price. The more his power grows, the more the darkness will try to claim him. You must guide him, teach him love over anger, compassion over pride. Ian giggled softly, his energy lighting up the entire room. The crystals began to spin, releasing a warm glow that wrapped around him like light embracing its source. For a moment, Ryan and Lyra felt peace, pure and perfect. But then, the temple shook violently. The light dimmed. Ryan shouted, "What's happening?" The Guardian's form flickered. "They found you. The King's fleet is breaking through the nebula." Lyra's eyes widened. Already? But how? They used his energy signature to track him, the Guardian said urgently. You must leave now. Outside, the nebula roared. The storm that had once been calm began to spin violently. Through the clouds, dark ships appeared, massive and golden, the King's royal fleet. Ryan ran toward the ship, shouting, "Lyra! Hurry!" She followed, holding Ian close. The moment they boarded, explosions erupted around them. The temple cracked apart, beams of light shooting in every direction. Ryan lifted off just as the Guardian's final words echoed in their minds. Protect the light, and it will protect you. As the ship sped through the storm, dozens of enemy fighters appeared behind them. Lasers flashed. The sky burned red. Lyra turned to Ryan, fear in her eyes. They're too many. Ryan gritted his teeth. Not if he helps us. He looked at Ian. You can do it, can't you, little one? Ian's eyes glowed brightly. He raised his tiny hand. The ship's shields flared to life, stronger than ever before. A wave of blue energy spread across the nebula, hitting every enemy ship like a tidal force. Explosions filled the sky. The royal fleet was thrown into chaos, unable to match the storm of pure power. Ryan shouted over the noise. He's controlling the nebula. Lyra could hardly speak. He's becoming what he's meant to be. The last of the enemy ships disappeared into the storm. Silence returned. The nebula calmed once more, glowing peacefully as if it were alive and thankful. Ryan took a deep breath. We made it. Lyra smiled weakly. For now. She looked down at Ian, now sleeping again, innocent and calm, and whispered, He's not just a child anymore, Ryan. He's destiny. Ryan stared out at the stars ahead. Then we'll make sure his destiny saves this galaxy, not destroys it. The ship drifted quietly through the glowing red clouds, heading deeper into the unknown, toward a fate that neither of them could yet imagine.